What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we discuss the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
What up?
What is the deal? So, another action-packed week. If you are just now tuning into this episode, please tune into the last episode where we discuss about the voice recognition in banks. I was trying to think, like, what is the term for it? Voice recognition, and how banks are starting to implement that. Again, if you have not been listening to Wednesdays, the Ask Assist P, please do so. Last week was we were talking to a VCISO. We were talking to Ms. Hollins, who is a trailblazer in digital forensics, as well as an entrepreneur. Had a lot of wisdom and nuggets that she shares. So please tune into that one and just continue to listen to us. But with all that being said, I pass it to LeVon for a good follow-up on a good company that I love. There, I said it.
I don't even want to say these words, but this is another Apple iOS discussion, little article that we came across here. This is from, was it Ars Technica, and from Samuel Axon. It looks like 96% of users, U.S. users, opt out of app tracking in iOS 14.5. They did some analytics to find out some of this data. So essentially, we talked about it, a few days ago or last week. Essentially, that Apple, they had the new app update that came out that's pretty much allowing people to opt out of tracking from various applications like Facebook and many other ones. Anything you can imagine, you can opt out of the tracking so that they can't see your browsing habits and try to cater like advertisements to your advertisement ID, so they can't track you and say like, hey, you looked at this sweater the other day. Let's send you some more different sweaters from other places that are having a sweater sale. But essentially, this is like they're noticing that a lot of people are opting out of it. Like I said, 96%. I think one of the the biggest companies that made some resistance was Facebook. They say that Facebook, whose market advantages and revenue streams are built on leveraging users' data to target the most effective ads at those users. Facebook went so far to say that they put out a full-page newspaper ad claiming that the change would not just hurt Facebook, but would destroy small businesses around the world. And then shortly after, the CEO, Tim Cook, attended a data privacy conference and delivered a speech that harshly criticized Facebook's business model. So it's like there's a little tiff there between Facebook and Apple. I can understand to a degree that not being able to advertise effectively to the user base, because if they're advertising for like businesses, maybe even small businesses that are close by that may have like products that the person may be interested in, obviously that's going to affect that revenue stream. But at the same time, I think we're seeing from the analysts results that people don't want to be tracked. People are opting out of app tracking, and I think we talked about it before that there's some pros and some cons to having this data tracked. It is kind of nice to have, you may get an advertisement for something that you're actually interested in, because you're into computer parts, you're into music, hip hop, you're into like whatever, cars and all kinds of stuff. You may get advertisements that are concentrated around those subjects so that you can kind of see more about it. Like you see like, oh, I'm kind of interested in buying a new car. Let me see what the latest model is or whatever. So you might get some advertisements around that model that you checked out. So it's like it's good and bad, but I think obviously we're kind of seeing that people are pretty adamant about not being tracked from this data so far. And I guess we'll have to see how it kind of how it kind of builds from here, whether or not people are kind of if there's going to be any kind of, I don't know, any kind of like fallback from this. I mean, obviously it seems like Facebook is making a big huff about losing a lot of this advertisement dollars, because this is actually, I think that's pretty much their primary revenue stream. And that's like, that's pretty much where they get their cash from, is watching where people are going and putting it on their Facebook feed. When you scroll down, you see the different advertisements that sneak up in there, and they show different ads related to what you just which you've viewed before. But I think that they'll still be able to get money. I mean, as long as advertisers can put stuff on Facebook, it just may not be like dedicated to what you're interested in. They're still going to have advertisers on there, still have a revenue stream from that nonetheless, but it just won't be concentrated. But do you guys have some thoughts on this? You have any feedback?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Ryan. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So I like targeted ads because it usually discloses something to me that maybe I wasn't even thinking about. Maybe they're creating products on my behalf. They see my trend. They're like, you know what? We should do that. We should create that. But I'm anti ignorance when it comes to people and their data, right? Like this now gives people power. Like they're like, oh, I could opt out. And then why not opt out? Well, why not opt out is because you're going to start seeing that Facebook's going to start getting expensive. Like the internet itself is going to get a little bit more pricey as they find new ways to get that cash revenue, right? Because they have a bottom line, they have investors, and they have to secure the bag. But now people will be more knowledgeable about what their information is worth. Like they'll start to through the attrition, loss, and or discomfort, they will start to be educated. So it's a roundabout way of doing it, but people don't really want to do that type of research. Like it's too easy, right? Facebook advertises to them. It doesn't really ask you to do much except for click a couple buttons, and then just to share your life. Now you'll start to see what the ramifications of that are. So I think it's a win-win for the customer. I think Facebook will find another way to make the revenue, or they'll make you uncomfortable and let you know, like, hey, now Facebook's $1. But they will survive. This is not going to cause Facebook to go under. But it will cause everybody to be a little bit more educated about their data and what it's being used for. So I think it's a good thing. Again, I'd say I'm an Apple lover and what have you. But fair is fair. So if they're doing this to other companies, like they need to make sure that they're also protecting our privacy and or not selling our data without our consent. So I'm sure in the weeks and months to come, like because now these companies have to find a campaign against Apple, right? They got to make Apple hurt. So they're going to find all the ways that Apple is doing this to us passively as well and expose it probably. So there'll be more news to come. But LeVon won't get to read that one.
That's right.
But that's all I really have.
So something to keep in mind here, right? So I don't want to say Apple's market share when it comes to, iPads, iPhones, and things of that nature. I'm not trying to say it's small, but like you said, Ryan, it's not enough to put Facebook under, right? Because like if you still have an Android device, this was only something that went to Apple devices, right? And the 96% opt-out, that was only the US percentage, right? Globally, I think it was 12% that opted in, according to the article, I think is what it was. Let me verify this before I say it. Yeah, 12%. So the global number is significantly higher at 12%, but that's still below some advertising companies' estimates. So again, the article specifies US, right? At 4% are the ones that opted in. But like you said, Ryan, it's not going to hurt Apple. They don't care. What you're talking about with them possibly charging for Facebook, I mean, if it gets big enough, yes, but I don't think they're there yet. But honestly, this number with the 96% that opted out, I did not think it was going to be that high. And I think I even said that last week. I said people are still just going to be like, click, okay, track, whatever, and just get to doing their business. But I was wrong on that, right?
Yeah, no, they actually had a chance to think about it. It wasn't just baked into the EULA. They're just like, you know what, maybe I don't want to track me.
Yeah.
So that was good. They got to make a conscious decision.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And even in the article, it says that there are some companies that give you a page that tries to tell you the benefits of actually opting in. And I'm like, okay, well, they're doing their part, right? Like, okay, well, these are the options you have, but click here if you want to see why these targeting apps help you out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I did not expect it to be this high. That is abnormally high in the US. And I just don't have faith in us. I don't know.
I thought it was interesting too, because I saw like the screenshot. I'm not sure if it's the actual screenshot you get when you allow or deny the access. It says allow Facebook to track your activity across other companies, apps, and websites. And then it actually says there's two options. One that says ask app not to track, and the other one that says allow. So it's like the first one is kind of like, hey, you're asking the app, hey, is it okay? Can you like not could you maybe not track me? It doesn't say
should
like
just say nope.
yeah, it says just say no tracking allowed,
Yeah.
and then it should be allow. It's like it's kind of funny, like you're asking the app. It's making sure that the app approves that that you don't get tracked. So I think that's kind of funny.
Right. I wonder if that's because they got to make their own user screen. Like I don't think that was Apple that made that. I think it was Facebook trying to trick you.
So they did. So the apps themselves were allowed to come up with it, which is why not all of them have that thing that says, "Hey, read here on why it's targeted." Not all of them have that, because as I started going through doing my apps after the update, I didn't see that for all of them that came up. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So not to pivot too hard, but did you also notice, or maybe this just happened to me? I was doing something, right? I was signed into one of my accounts, and the KeyPass popped up, or I think is it KeyPass? Yeah, KeyPass popped up. It was like, hey, the following websites or the following accounts have been. It was either said the username or the password or both have been detected as being part of a breach, and then it lists the account, and then it says, would you like us to help you create a stronger password, or do you want to go directly to the app and create your own password? So there's a lot of stuff baked in there. And again, like people, if a random site is compromised, like you can lose the keys to the kingdom, basically. So they're tracking it. It's out there. Like they were like, hey, so many, I'm not gonna say how many, but so many of these passwords were compromised. And then underneath that, it has a tab that says these accounts also have similar passwords. Would you like to change these as well? So they weren't in the breach, but it was like, these are close enough. So I'm like, there's a lot of stuff baked in here.
That's pretty cool.
So I didn't get that. So I thought you were going a different direction. I had one after I did the update that somehow, I don't know why it is, because I never, and it was on a website, and I never have any of these websites remember my passwords or anything like that for the convenience, which is why I need a password wallet, because I don't save any and I make them all different. And I'm just like, geez, Louise, it's getting to be too much now. But I had it to where it knew the username. And I was like, I've never saved that anywhere. So how does it know that? But it was only after I did the 14.5.1 was the last one I did. Okay. So that's the direction I thought you were going. I haven't had that happen with the
so I usually tell the phone to remember all of them. Like when I do it, if I do it from the phone, I'll tell it to remember it. But yeah, now it's starting to tell me which ones that are compromised. It's like the following ones are compromised, and then like these ones are very similar. You may want to change these as well. So I'm like, I have to go through and start changing some passwords. Yeah. But again, that's the benefit of having the password wallet kind of built into the phone. But again, it's a what's it called? It's what's the term I'm looking for when you only have one of something? If it gets compromised, it's bad.
Single source of
single point of failure. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah. So it's awesome. I'm gonna be able to make all these strong passwords and whatnot. But if my key password get compromised, then they got all the keys. So what do you do?
Yeah. And as you were talking about that, I mean, and I know Shannon just mentioned it, but I do save my password in the browser, and not on every site. I don't save like my banking and stuff like that. But I do save it for like random sites that I may have like a login for, maybe like Discord and DoorDash, things like that. And I use like the Edge, Microsoft's Edge browser, and they have the same thing that you were talking about as well, Ryan, with the they call it like a password monitor. So they see the password. They actually, when I read about it, they don't actually see your password, but they have like a system that can kind of sees the hash, and it can match it to other hashes on the web or something like that, so that they actually will alert you if your password is compromised. It's out there in the web, if somebody knows that password for that account, and does like the same thing, kind of alerts you. I haven't had that situation pop up yet, but I read about it. I thought it was pretty interesting that they kind of are kind of monitoring that, just make sure that you don't get compromised somewhere, that somebody else is using your account, that yours is like your password account is like on the dark web somewhere that is accessible to other people.
Right.
So I think that's a pretty cool function. And like I said, I know you guys aren't big into it, but I like storing my password in the browser. And I read enough about it that it feels safe enough. that it's pretty encrypted and that it is encrypted and that it's secure as is. But I can understand the hesitancy from using it. It's obviously like your passwords are out there somewhere that you don't really confident about. But I feel good enough with what they do. And plus, like I mentioned, I put the two-factor authentication on the big things that I know that I want to make sure that they remain secure, like the banking and any kind of like, I don't know. I can't think of like many accounts that besides like banking and maybe like I don't know, personal, like maybe like a Facebook or something like that, that I would not have like two-factor authentication on.
Well, you got to remember, LeVon, I'm kind of the conspiracy theorist here, right?
Yeah.
Look, I've gone after the FBI and the Pentagon, so like for me, like I'm that guy
Yeah.
that like I don't. Well, let me not say I don't, but I only have like a credit card or a debit card saved in like two things that I can think of off the top of my head. I never save them in any other, like, every time you pay for something, it's like, do you want to save card? I'm like, nope. No, I do not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if
Yeah.
you got that somewhere stored off, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, if you get breached, then my information is out there, So like, that's the thing. I don't save my usernames. I don't save my passwords. I don't save my card information. So that's just being paranoid about it.
Yeah. No, I think that's, it's smart. It's good just to be safe about that kind of stuff. And especially when it comes to your money, nobody wants their money to be compromised. And credit cards are one thing too. I mean, obviously credit cards get leaked. I've had a few issues where I had like a credit card charge. That wasn't me. I think a lot of times it comes from like the skimmers at the gas station. People have like, they set up like little machines that they scan your credit card. And they haven't had it happen to my mom a couple of times too. And but it's normally pretty easy that you call the company and say, hey, that wasn't me. And they're like, okay, we're reimburse you and send you a new card. So it's kind of like as long as it's not like your, I don't know, checking account or something like that, then it might be a little bit more questionable if they have like your routing numbers and all this kind of stuff. And, they would like take some money out your checking. Cause I think as far as I know, I think that's a little bit harder to like get back if something happens. They have to like go through some more process compared to like a credit card. They don't really care. They're like, oh, whatever. We get a bunch of money from you anyway from all these like, the interest we charge companies when you charge something.
I gotta be honest with you, like when that became very prevalent, like with the skimmers and whatnot, I started using my debit card less.
Yeah, exactly.
It was for that reason, because if they do, like, it's harder for you to get money back into your checking account than to go to a credit card company and say, hey, it's been stolen. Because the credit card companies are quick to be like, okay, well, we'll cut this card off, reverse the charge and send you another card. When it comes to my money though, right? Like, stuff is always happening. Like I'm paying for something at least every 30 days, I got a mortgage.
Right.
So, like I can't risk that getting out there. And that's just one of those things where I used it probably like 3 weeks ago. I went to a gas station and used my debit card, and I forgot my PIN the first time I put it in. I hadn't used it in so long.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I was like, okay, that's the wrong number. Okay, let me try this one. You know what I mean? Oh, there it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I had forgotten the number on it because I do not use it. I do not use it. I don't use it when I'm doing stuff online. Like I'll go with a credit card. And here's the thing. Be honest here. Like full disclosure. Like my wife is the home comptroller, right? So like, I don't know how much money I have.
Right.
She'll let me know if something comes up. You know what I mean? So like she's paying. There's times where we'll go like shopping at Costco, and we'll put it on the Costco credit card, and she'll pay it when we get home. And I'm just like,
right.
We still
let it marinate.
We still get the points. We get that whatever percentage back.
Right.
But, so like we'll pay it as soon as we get home. We just won't use the debit card out and about because of it. So I'm probably scaring her into not using the debit card.
I was going to ask you guys. Yeah, that's smart. I was going to say I'm the same way. I haven't used my debit card in such a long time, and I think it's for that main reason. Like I want to keep that more secretive. I only use it for like pulling money out the ATM, and that's pretty much the only time you see me grab my debit card for anything. But I was curious, like you guys. I know you just mentioned it, Shannon, but are you guys quick to pay your credit cards off? Like if you charge something, you pay it like right away? Because I normally let mine kind of marinate. Like I'll wait for the next like bill, when the bill's due, the next cycle. I kind of have like a recurring, I guess, bill. I guess every month I just pay it like right on. I have it like auto pay, so it just pays the credit card on the month it's due, just for the balance for that period.
So like my oldest credit card that I have was one I got when I first joined the military, and I forget I have it all the time. I forget I have it all the time, and I try to make it a point like once a year just to put like $10 or something on it so they don't close it out. Because like that's how your credit history. Like if I close that account or inadvertently close that account, because I've had that happen before.
Yeah.
I haven't used a card for so long, and then all of a sudden it just closes, and I'm like, oh, and my
Yeah.
credit takes a hit because my credit age goes down, and I'm like,
Mm.
I didn't even realize. I thought I was being responsible because I wasn't ever
Right.
using it, right? But they're like,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
we want to get some interest off you, right? That's how we make money. Like put something
Yeah.
more there. And I'm like, okay, all right. But yeah, like I have to remember at least once a year to put like $10. I might put some gas or something in the car or whatever, and then I'll
Yeah.
come home. I have to wait for that one to register though. That one doesn't register immediately for whatever reason, but I have to wait for that one to show and then log in and pay it off. But I try to remember once a year. I should probably set like something in my calendar or something that's like, hey, use this card. You know what I mean? But
Right.
yeah, my wife, I shouldn't say I, very good about that. Like when something goes on and she just pays it off.
Yeah. It's really quick.
Yeah, it just depends on the card for me. Like so, like like when it comes to like Amex, then yeah, it's immediate. But I have an Apple. I think it's through Barclay, and that one, if you buy an Apple product, it's 0 APR, and they break it into installments or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And that's kind of its purpose. But you can also put other stuff on it. But the other stuff I pay off immediately because I don't like paying interest. So I'm like, again, I use them because I want. Like I had one through my bank one time where they gave me a decent card. I didn't use it. It was supposed to be my Mercy card. I didn't use it for a year, and they shut it off. And I did take credit hit. I was like, yo, it's because they're pretty much holding you at ransom because you have to use cards to build your credit history, and then you try to be responsible and not use them, and then they cut them off. So they have you ransom. It's a racket.
Right. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Dang.
But
yeah.
No, I think that pretty much does it for this episode.
Yeah. We covered good about.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, LeVon. Thank you to all those who are listening. Please continue to tune in, listen to us on or watch us on YouTube at the other side of the firewall, as well as listen to us where you can pretty much listen to any podcast. We're on Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Apple, where we get most of our hits, as well as I think it says Spotify. So continue to listen to us. You can go to the website, which is theothersideofthefirewall.com, where you can get to all our social medias. Please continue to hit those up on IG as well as Twitter. You can reach me personally at RYRY Security Guy. It's RYRY Security Guy. I'm on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
And you can hit me up on Twitter at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. So make sure you continue to listen out throughout the week. Wednesday will be Ask Us SP, and then Thursday will be our discussion. And then Friday is always the weekly rundown. So you listen to us cut loose about things that aren't necessarily cybersecurity related. So that being said, y'all take care.
Take it easy.